Doug, I'm going to hand it off to you to share
Awesome.
your APIM demo.
So thank you for letting me present. This is a follow-up to Fabian's presentation from a couple of weeks ago where somebody asked, how do we deal with architecture around distributed um, when you have lots of semantic kernel going on? And I was sort of working on that exact problem. So what this is a resource group in my Azure subscription, and it has an API manager at the heart of it. It has two Azure functions, one of which is for a GPT plugin, which I'll demo, and the other one is for a Teams bot, which I'll also demo. There's a SQL database in here for chat history, and these are consumption, which is not super robust, but it's plenty fast, and it's good for development, and this whole setup costs less than $8 a month. So it's not going to burn through your developer credits on your Azure subscription. I love API managers. APIM is a very good API manager. There's a lot of reasons to use one. The reason I like them, well, my hype man Deepak is here, but we use this a lot in my previous life with our global system, and we have lots of API managers behind a front door for our global subscription and lots of individual microservices. And I like the API manager as a way to compose lots of heterogeneous pieces together and keep them independent while making them look like one system. And that's especially handy when you're dealing with something that's a moving target like semantic kernel, because if you keep your little bits separate in different function apps, if you want to update and try a new one, you don't have to break your entire application and make them all work. They'll all keep working as individual function apps while you work on the new one, and then you can go back one at a time and validate them. So in here, I'm composing a couple of different things. The first thing I'm composing is a plugin specification. This is an API that routes with a policy to Azure storage where the real plugin JSON file actually lives. The Azure storage is private, and the API manager has managed service identity and read permissions on that storage container to keep everything nice and secure. And when the request comes into this, it makes it shaped right and sends it down to Azure storage. And these policies are basically, doing the necessary things to make that all work. There's the authentication that says it's for storage. And when we test this, it just works like it ought to. And you can see it's nice and fast. Again, this is a consumption-based APIM. This ability to do this is even more important with the open API description that goes with a plugin, because one of the questions that was asked about function calling I saw in the chat was, how does it know? Well, the LLM is doing inference against the language that's in the open API description. So what's important in your open API description for a plugin is that the function names make sense, that the descriptions of the methods make sense, because that's how the LLM, along with the planner, is going to decide what it is it should invoke. And so when you're testing your plugin, you may change this a lot and never change your actual code because the method signature is staying the same. So having the open API descriptions inside the function apps and serving them up from there is convenient for development. And in fact, I made this using the functions tools and the Swagger definition. I copied it out and then I massaged it, but I'll change this a bunch. And these two guys are both anonymous. The way this works in the Copilot sample, which I got hiding out over here, is if we come here and we go to add our custom plugin, and I get onto my clipboard this host name. Which is right here. And find the manifest file. This routed through, it's shaped right, it came back, and I can add my plugin. And then the other thing that this demonstrates is that has function auth, or sorry, not function auth, it has a JOT token validation on it. It's got auth bearer, which is one of the features in ChatGPT plus in Chat Copilot. So I've got this bearer token that Fabian had that I stole. I'm just kidding. That's a joke from 2 weeks ago. And when I enable this, let's say I don't know what to do. and hopefully I'll get a plan made that says I should call greet the user because he doesn't know what to do. I say yes, proceed, and it worked, and that's the message that I got out of my plugin. So that ran through one of the function apps. The other function app, and that one did JOT token validation. The other function app that I have is the Teams bot, and the Teams bot uses a webhooks, and these are really easy to set up. You just go into your team and you manage it, and you go to apps, and you click create an outgoing webhook and fill out this form, and you'll get a key. And this is called HMAC signatures, which is not something I personally had ever heard of before. So if I come here and I say, hey, LDemo, hi, he's going to fail. And because it's not authorized. And if I come up to this one and I say LDemo, oops, hi, the bot's going to come back and greet me by name. So that was a really, really fast demonstration. But what this shows is that you can use consumption APIM and consumption functions and storage and make yourself a thing with nice isolated pieces that are going to work completely independent of each other and have different authorization schemes and whatnot. And as a shout out to my friends in Graph and Fabian, if I wanted to front a Graph API here and make that part of my plugin and mix in with some custom stuff that I did along with Microsoft Graph, this gives me an easy way to do that too, because from the outside, it just looks like one host and I can have multiple application identities and do all sorts of crazy stuff and make it look like one system. So I hope that was helpful to people. If you've been playing with Chat Copilot, which is a very good sample, you'll kind of see the opposite approach to that. Chat Copilot is a great big monolith ASP.NET core application with lots of stuff in it. And it's got a huge configuration service, and sometimes it's easy to configure and sometimes it's not. That's a good team. I'm using their stuff. I don't want to bash on it because it's a different architectural choice that I made, but experience-wise, that's the difference. The one last thing I want to show that I almost forgot was the way these work is I like packages. So the structure of this is there's a function app, a function app. This is my chat history data library, and then my chat features is just a component that's used by whatever front end I want to stick in front of it, whether it's a plugin or a chat copilot or a web service or a Teams bot or whatever. And so inside of this, you can have your skills set to copy always. And then when you deploy this in your Azure Function app, you'll just get all of your skills here under WW root and skills. So you can just use all of the sample code that loads them from disk, just like you're used to. I don't have a repo for LDemo yet. I will. I'm going to turn this into a user group talk, and you were my guinea pigs to hear the first super short abbreviated version of it. So thanks.
Well, thank you, Doug. Thank you for test driving this with us. It's honestly very cool to see, and yeah, hopefully useful for the audience and the community at large to try out.